Let me paint the picture for you. I live in a quiet cul-de-sac surrounded by good folks, except for one glaring exception, Karen. She's the HOA vice president, part-time busybody, and full-time boundary-stomping menace. Her claim to fame? Thinking everything in a five-house radius belongs to her. Now, I'm not one to stir up trouble. I keep my lawn trimmed, pay my dues, and wave politely, even when Karen's giving me the stink eye for parking my truck facing the wrong way. But the day she decided to help herself to my outdoor water line to fill her precious hot tub, that was the final straw. It started with a spike in my water bill. I don't use much, no kids, no pool, and I water the lawn at night with drip irrigation. So when I got a $320 bill one month, I knew something was off. I checked every faucet, hose, and pipe. Nothing. Until I noticed the garden hose connected to the side of my house looked different, stretched out, like it had been relocated. I followed the trail like a detective in a crime drama, and it led across the fence to, you guessed it, Karen's backyard. Her newly installed hot tub was bubbling away like a boiling pot of gall, and there, in plain view, was my hose, snaked around a plastic flamingo and directly connected to her fill valve. I nearly choked on my coffee. I confronted her, of course, knocked on her door, calm and polite. Karen answered with her usual resting scowl. "Karen, did you use my hose to fill your hot tub?" She scoffed. It was only for a little while. The HOA has rules about water conservation, and my outside spigot wasn't working. You weren't using it. That's not how property works. She rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic. It's just water. You're overreacting." Oh, I wasn't overreacting. I was warming up. I told her to disconnect immediately and never touch anything on my property again. She shut the door in my face. So I disconnected the hose myself and stored it in my locked garage. The next day, it was back. Not only had she reconnected it, but she had duct taped it to her hot tub plumbing so it wouldn't fall off. That's when I checked the outdoor spigot. She damaged the nozzle, snapped the valve so it stayed open, and wrapped it in a towel to keep it from spraying. That wasn't just disrespectful. That was theft and vandalism. I took photos, of course, documented everything, even set up a trail cam pointed at the spigot to catch her in the act if she tried again. But I wasn't going to confront her again. No, that's what she wanted, another shouting match she could twist into a harassment complaint to the HOA. So I came up with a plan. Now you should know, I used to work for the city's water department before I retired. I know my way around pipes. And more importantly, I still had a contact or two who could help me with something educational. I picked up a small, portable sewer transfer pump. Not illegal, not dangerous, but definitely disgusting when used properly. With a few modifications and some clever rerouting, I hooked it up inside my access line near the hose spigot. From the outside, everything looked the same until you turned on the water. And instead of crystal clear water, you get raw, brown, and stinking gray water, rerouted from the sewer cleanout I legally accessed from my side of the property. Now, I didn't activate it right away. I waited for her to take the bait again. And boy, she did. I got a motion alert from my trail cam 2 days later. Karen had climbed over the fence, with a stepladder no less, reconnected the hose, and turned on the valve. She didn't even try to be subtle this time. And 30 minutes later, she was screaming like a banshee. I walked outside with a mug of coffee just in time to see Karen hurling towels into her hot tub and dry heaving into her flower bed. The bubbling, steaming water was now a murky swamp of horror, and the smell hit me even from across the fence. "Oh dear," I said, loud enough for her to hear. "Looks like you've got a plumbing issue." She glared at me with pure hatred. "What did you do?" I shrugged. "Oh, I don't know. Maybe someone tampered with my water line and got what was coming." She stomped back inside, muttering threats about the HOA, lawsuits, and even criminal charges. But guess what? I had receipts. Literal ones. Camera footage. Timestamps. My own repair estimates. Her confession about using my line. And her physical trespassing caught on trail cam. Next stop, the HOA board meeting. Whole meetings are usually a snooze fest, but not this one. I arrived early with the folder thick with evidence, timestamps, photos, repair estimates, and a printout from my trail cam showing Karen mid-straddle on a stepladder trespassing on my property. The moment Karen walked in and saw me seated at the front with the board, she paused, face flushed, lips pursed. Oh, she knew. The room smelled of chlorine and desperation, and she looked like she hadn't slept since her little hot tub incident. The board president, a no-nonsense woman named Martha, opened the meeting. Let's start with Mr. Taylor's formal complaint regarding property violations and water theft. I stood, nodded, and calmly laid out my case. I walked through everything. My abnormal water bill. Water bill. My bro on my water bill. I brought water bill. Find boards at the polo in the tipies. Body bill my water bill and well water bill. Bullen, woman shooters of all was say Shemionis about Wesley Kannakansa. Besides top Benja Folis at Self and Bengler. My Bengel Jeffness Bill and Zeb Butterlands and Buzzin Wizard was Cienza. And Bullo was Bill when it chippers a pink as at us. And thank yous of fours as widows last daughters, spray as at her best saban. The hose being used across the fence. Karen's damage to my spigot. Well, Fidesois, Steve Loaf was internals been to my spigot, and Salways, Metzler the Fairs, que may solve bird doors thinks so. Combers this which bull woods live were bigot when Menace lives purchase damage to my spigot. Her repeated trespassing even after being told to stop. Her own admission that she used my water because I wasn't using it. And the piece de resistance, the footage of her climbing over my fence like a raccoon in pearls. I passed around the printed trail cam photos. Karen jumped out of her seat like she was allergic to accountability. This is insane. He tampered with my hot tub. I could sue for damages. My husband and I had to completely drain and sanitize it. It cost us hundreds. The room murmured. Martha raised a hand. Karen, did you use his water line? Karen crossed her arms. It was just a hose. I thought we were supposed to be good neighbors. I stepped back up. Being a good neighbor doesn't mean stealing utilities and damaging private property. And let's not forget, she's vice president of the HOA. She's supposed to enforce the rules, not break them. The silence was delicious. Another board member chimed in. Karen, if what Mr. Taylor is showing us is true, and I believe it is, this is serious. Trespassing, utility theft, property damage. You could be facing a lawsuit, not the other way around. Karen's face turned the color of her cheap wine. Fine, she hissed. Then I'll file my own complaint. He poured sewer water into my hot tub. That's biohazardous. I cut in. Actually, I didn't pour anything. I simply rerouted my plumbing on my own property. It's not my fault if someone illegally accessed it. Martha raised her eyebrows. Karen, did you access his plumbing after being told not to? Karen was trapped. She stammered, muttered something about not knowing it was connected, but no one was buying it. The final verdict? Karen was stripped of her vice president role immediately. She was fined for trespassing, ordered to pay for the damage to my spigot, and was warned that if she retaliated or filed a frivolous lawsuit, the HOA would back me in court. But I wasn't done. I walked home that evening and filed a small claims court case for damages, both financial and for harassment. The trail cam footage, her public confession, and the inflated water bill were more than enough to win. 2 months later, Karen had to pay me $1,200 in damages. Oh, and the cherry on top? Word spread fast around the neighborhood. Everyone started watching Karen like a hawk. The woman who once ruled the block with an iron clipboard now slinks out of her house like a vampire avoiding daylight. As for me, I installed a tamper-proof water box on my spigot, just in case, and I replaced the old trail cam with a new one, solar-powered and motion-activated. Because let's face it, with a neighbor like Karen, you can never be too prepared.